Hey, I'm Travis, and this is Handcrafted Overlanding. Today, I'm going to start a multi-part series on installing the secondary battery system in the Squirrely Ram. So it's going to be a multi-part series because there's a lot of work to happen, and there's a lot of different components to it. I'm going to break it up into three portions. The first one's going to be basically the basic hardware, where I'm going to be installing the secondary battery, charging system, and the charging system for the truck. I'm also going to be installing fuse panels, fuse blocks underneath the front dash, because in the 5th gen Rams they actually don't have a fuse panel under the dash. So I'm going to want to pull power from under there for eventual projects, so that's what I'm going to do. Lastly, I'm going to go ahead and install a charger system to allow for shore power while it's up parked. Because of the pandemic, we're not driving a lot, and secondary batteries tend to die quickly if you have a small draw on them. So, to go over the components real quick, I will be installing 2 of these fuse blocks underneath the dash. Chose to go 2 because one's going to be for accessory power, one's going to be for always on power, and that'll help me keep it organized. I'm also going to be installing this DC to DC battery charger for the secondary battery. The reason why I plan on using this is, as I've learned in the Denali, if you have 2 similar materials used for your battery, one will charge, the other one won't. Because I'm going to be using a solar battery, which is an AGM. The RAM probably has an AGM as well, but the charge level is a little bit different on a solar battery than it is on a vehicle battery. Lastly, to get shore power, I'll be charging with this onboard battery charger from NOCO. I use one of their vehicle chargers. Works great. I am not sponsored by any of these companies. Lastly, I'm going to be using 4-gauge wire to get the power to the fuse blocks and to the secondary battery charger. I will also be adding in some little odds and ends, like a relay that's triggered when the accessory switch is in position to charge the secondary block. They are going to be inline fuses for the battery charger and for the fuse blocks. Those have been ordered. They haven't come in yet. I'll install those later. Lastly, if we have time today, I'm going to install this Blackview 2-channel 4K camera. Again, not sponsored by them. I just thought they were a really good product. After all of this work is done, this will probably be a multi-part video. The next step is going to be building in auxiliary switch control for other accessories, such as battery, light bars, things like that. The 5th gen Rams, the 2500s, have the capability of having an auxiliary panel in the center console. I think that looks cleaner. Right now, because the truck is still very new, those panels are not for sale from the Dodge dealership. As soon as those become available, that's going to be the next project. We're going to be installing that, a relay system underneath the hood where the auxiliary relay system goes for the truck, and then that's where we're going to be driving most of our projects from. The light bars, things like that. That way we can separate the power draw off of the primary battery, and the primary battery can be left for just the vehicle. So with all that nonsense and intro to the video covered, let's go ahead and start taking a look where we can mount things, where we can start punching holes in the Ram. So on forums for Gen 4s, they reference this. I don't know if you can see it and point at the same time. That guy, right in the middle, as a clutch plate bypass. Well, I'm not sure if that's what it is, but there looks like to be 2 corresponding bolts underneath the dash. So let's get underneath the dash to see if we can't pop that out. And if we can, then that's what we're going to go through. Okay, so first what we're going to want to do is get this kick panel out of the way. Now, this panel is a 7mm. And get this off, grab it from the lower section, give it a couple good tugs. It's just connected in with a couple plastic tabs. These line up, and here is the OBD2 connector and the the hood latch. So next, the bolts that I'm targeting, I don't know if you can see them, up there. See this too? Around that hole. So what I'm going to try to do is get those bolts loose and see if it loosens up the panel on the outside. That's handy. The washer comes off with the nut and they're nylock. So while we're planning our layout, we got that played out. Let's check to see if we have any easy access underneath the truck. Maybe those plugs? Maybe that one? Yeah, that one looks like it probably would work. Let's see if we can push up on this plug. We have to probably do something scary. Pull up the carpet a little bit. If not, those could work, but I bet you theirs would be in line with the footwell. Let's take a look. So, feel something right here. Got all these pull-ups. It's not attached to the floorboard, thankfully. Let's see if we've got an upholstery tool to get those off. Well, couldn't find any pry tools. Well, let's see my garage. I'm not surprised. I'm sure you aren't either. So, there we go. Oh, we got a little mangled, but it is what it is. Check it out. Found it. And off to the side, no less. Let's see if we can't get back underneath there. Pry up on it. Push it out. Why am I not putting it in the bed of the truck? Or under the hood, or any of those things? Well, solar batteries tend to be a little finicky with heat. And because this is going to be out in the California sun, we don't want it out in the heat. Yeah, well, that'll work. That'll work. Okay, so we're back. Battery's charged up on the GoPro, phone, got some charge on this. I would normally think I would start in here, but I don't want to. I'm going to actually start over here on this plug. Mainly because it's a nice, pretty thin piece of plastic. You know what? I'm sure you all realize what I should be doing. That's right, center hole pilot. Use one of these guys. So I'm going to go in through the top because we have this nice little dimple, but I don't want to put too much pressure because I don't want to damage these. Right like that. Now again, this is 10 millimeter. Ooh, doggy. Alright. See if we can't get this grommet in. There we go. Grommet's in. Let's test this with some wire. It's pretty tight. Pretty sure with a little bit of lubrication that'd slide in nice and easy. But yeah, we'll get some lubrication. Along with some lubrication, let's have about some illumination. Yeah, there we go. That will work just nicely. Alright, so we got that taken care of. Alright, so we got the wire through the plate. So now what we gotta do is install a grommet on the end of this. Usually what I'll do is I'll take a pair of pliers and just cramp down as much as I can. I'll grab a hammer and I'll tap on it a few times. That works. There's also tools like this. Got this one off of Amazon. I want to say it was like 20 bucks or something like that. Don't quote me on the price. Really straight and simple. You strip it, you put this in here, like so. Put the wire in there, and then hammer right there. Should be easy. I've never used it though. So let's give it a go. Twist. Put this down in here, see how it sits. So for the project I also picked the stranded versus a solid core. Stranded is a lot more flexible and tends to have a better rated conductivity of amperage, but it's a lot more expensive. But this stuff wasn't that expensive. I'll go ahead and link all the products that I use in this project over on my blog, hcoverlanding.com or handcraftedoverlanding.com. Alright. In. Got that lined up. Let's go get a hammer. Well, small one doesn't work, we got the big one. Alright, let's try this. Make sure that's tucked in and looks like that hill is holding them pretty tight. A little wiggle. Let's try it again. Alright. Probably look better if I put it right there. I also grabbed some. Oh, come on. Oh, that's cute. Shrink wrap. Won't be using that one, it's too small. But this particular shrink wrap is marine grade. It actually has basically hot glue on the inside, so when you slide it over and seal it down, it'll actually protect it from the water. We will do that in a bit. So I don't want to cut my length yet because I'm not sure how much of a length that I need. So I'm going to take this back over to the truck. I'm going to install this into the truck, and I'm going to see about where I'm going to put these. I've actually decided I'm going to mount these on the kick plate underneath. I don't want to drill through it, so I'm going to use some of this 3M HVB. It's good stuff. Actually, it's what the GoPros come with their standard mounts. And I have one on the front of the Hemi, or not the Hemi, I'm sorry, on the front of the Denali, and it holds up really well. So, a little bit of water. Let's get this mount back in, see our length, see where we're going to put our plates, and go from there. So it's been a quick minute. So, went ahead and terminated the cables, got the plate mounted, routed the second cable that's going to the secondary battery charging system, the DC converter. Goes down along the frame. It is zip tied underneath the truck. Came in through that grommet that we drilled the hole through. Got all the ends connected and terminated. What I did was I just kind of folded this over, routed the cable through one of the grommet holes. What I also did was I dropped in this 100 amp hour battery. Now, this battery does not sit flush against the bottom. There's a good gap back there. So Sun's going down. I probably gonna work a little bit more off camera, but what I'll end up doing is I'm gonna make some blocks for this. I need to go pick up a 40 amp relay for under the dash. I didn't have one. I went ahead and made a couple of these cables. They connect from the DC to DC charger, which will be mounted here. These two are for output to the battery. Then this cable will be routed along the back there. Now, for the ground, for this unit to ground it down to the truck, I need to confirm that the truck is grounded to the chassis. I believe it should, but just gonna double check. And I was contemplating drilling straight down and mounting a bolt right into the floor pan, if you will. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. What I may end up doing is pulling one of these bolts off of the seat, because I know those attach into very sturdy structural points, and I don't know, we'll have to see the size and see if I have a grommet that would fit. We'll have to see. So you keep on chugging away on this particular portion of it. Haven't gotten any work done under here. Just brought the cable in. You can see it came through the grommet square in the center. I know that some of you might be wondering, but Travis, didn't you say you're going to bring a control line in from an accessory from underneath the hood? Why, yes I will. Yeah. I will have to see about that. Anyways, I'm also looking for mounting points for those fuse panels. I thought this was flat, but it is not, and that stinks. So maybe up in there, maybe over there. How am I still mount to this? I'll have to figure that out. Anyways, I will see you guys tomorrow. Hey, and welcome back. It's a new day, and I got a little bit more work done last night. So, what did I do? Well, starters, let's go ahead and recap. So first off, brought the cabling up from underneath the truck. It's been terminated over to the DC battery charger. We got the battery terminated. I decided to ground the DC charger right here. I didn't have an eyelet quite big enough, so yeah, that's not very pretty under there, but it works. So under the dash, haven't touched, haven't changed. That's what I'm going to be doing today. Under the hood though, what I did is the wiring. It's interesting. If you pull this open, you can see that they have multiple terminals that come right off the battery in this little block. It's kind of handy. So my initial, this was empty, this is empty. So this is an M8 bolt, this is an M6 bolt. You can use either. I actually had to ream these out to use it on the M8. The reason why I chose to do that is this stud actually is not connected to the plate. You can see with this one, this has a little spring thing that touches down to the plates to connect it. Anyways, so that's what I decided to do. So on the list for today is get the power hookup underneath the dash, get a secondary control circuit out of this box under the dash, and get that wired up. So relays, I'm going to be using a standard 40 amp relay. Unfortunately, I don't have any spares. I used to have tons of them from the other project, but I don't happen to have any. Called a couple local auto shops, auto parts stores. They didn't happen to have any, so that's on order. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to forego the accessory panel underneath. Pardon the sound, there's a fan running. So I'm only going to be putting in one block today. That's going to be an always on. I'm going to route the control line back to the back charge controller, so whenever the truck is on accessory or fully running, it should charge the secondary battery. Also, one other bit to the project is I am going to be building a little bit better of a retaining location for the battery. You'll see that a little bit later today. So let's continue on, see what we can do. So I changed the wiring I decided to use because this is just going to be trigger wire. Actually, not a lot of current going to be going across it. That's what this guy was for. So I went with, I believe this is a 20 gauge. By the way, I was wrong at the beginning. I kept on saying that this was 4. This is actually 6 gauge. So yeah, it will still handle all the voltage and amperage that I wanted to handle. So I'm not worried about it. But just so for your guys' record, this is definitely a 6 gauge. So we punched it through the grommet there, and we are going to be finishing up inside. Hey guys, day 3. Yesterday got away from me. What I did happen to do yesterday was find out which fuses are switched with the accessory or startup of the vehicle. So I was able to figure that out. So I was going to wire in the trigger line, or the line for the sensing circuit for the charger, DC charger. The only problem is the DC, or the fuse box on this is a micro 2. I bought mini pieces. I've spent the morning today looking for the micro 2s. I just finally had to get them special ordered from Napa. Love Napa. Don't know why I really shop anywhere else. If they don't have it, they can get it to me in an hour or two. Anyways, while I was doing that, I had an idea that project I was telling you about. I actually decided to build a tray for underneath the back seat. So this is where the charger is going to be sitting. This is where the battery is going to sit. This will end up being angled like so, but this will allow me to bolt this down, or bolt the charger down to this without drilling holes into the chassis. The seat should sit down nice and snug on this, but it shouldn't crush anything, so this won't be moving. Plus the wiring keeps it in place as well. So while I wait for those out of fuses to come in, I'm going to go ahead and install the fuse panel underneath the seat, or underneath the dash. So come on, let's go do that. Bet you guys thought it was going to be another day, different shirt, huh? No. Well, I almost forgot about you guys, but not really. All right, so we got stuff done. So signal wire is tucked around all along the edge here. This is the piece I designed. When the seat closes down, it sits down and kind of presses down here, so that signal wire comes all along the jamb and tucks up right up in there. See that green black wire? Yeah, that's the signal wire. For right now, I'm not running the accessory fuse panel, mostly because I don't have the relays for it right now, and I think I got enough done to begin with. So there is the always on relay panel, or not relay panel, fuse panel. It's grounded to the chassis right here using 12 gauge. Goes back up into there. I have the 6 gauge attached to that. So out over here, put a nice loom on this. We have the ADA link, or ADA circuit here. I tied off of F96, which is trailer cam. I have a backup camera. I don't know if that's the same thing. Anyways, that loom covers it all the way down to the grommet. I zip tied the 6 gauge wire back up, as previously noted. They connect right here. This is an M10 or M8 bolt, can't remember. This is the next size down, so I think this is 6 and I think that's an 8. Anyways, that clips down into place. Wires are tucked away, zip tied back up. I'm gonna notch this so I can have that sit a little bit quiet, close. So I think you noticed that I had 2 cables. Well, I'm only using one for the trigger wire. I want to bring the other one back into the under the hood, just in the event that I needed another trigger wire for something. Anyways, this is going to be part 1 that's been completed. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop a comment below or see me over on my blog. Anyways, I'll have a diagram of the final design and this stage done for you out on my blog, hcoverlanding.com. Thanks. Have a great day. What, you think I'd let you go before I actually showed you that the circuit boots up? So this is actually tied for when the vehicle starts. So, sorry about the glare, but you get to watch the glare as I start the truck. Green light shows that this is currently on and it is charging. Well, it's flow charging right now. It's actually fully charged, but yeah, it works. And yeah, see me for part 2. Catch you later.